So imagine, if you will, building a billion-dollar multinational tech platform.
Okay, that's a tall order.
Right. I mean, I'm talking about a massive, breathing digital operation that flawlessly coordinates, thousands of local businesses, millions of hungry or hurried users, and like an absolute army of delivery drivers all in real time.
Yeah, that is not a simple weekend project.
No, definitely not. But now I want you to imagine pulling off that entire build in just 15 days.
Wow.
Oh, and you're going to do it for less than the cost of a new midsize car.
I mean, it sounds completely absurd, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's almost like one of those late-night infomercial promises.
Yeah.
But it's actually a very real, very sobering reflection of where the global software industry has arrived today.
Yeah.
We are looking at a fundamental shift in how massive digital infrastructure is built, deployed, and, ultimately monetized.
Exactly. And that is the mission of our deep dive today. We are exploring the comprehensive blueprint behind building what the industry actually calls a Rappi clone. We're going to dissect the invisible mechanics of these massive super apps, explore the fascinating buy versus build economics that are just turning the modern tech world upside down, and uncover what it really takes for you to launch an on-demand delivery empire from scratch.
And, whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur actively hunting for a strategic shortcut to launch your own business,
Right.
or you're just someone who uses these delivery apps every single day and you're insanely curious about the digital machinery operating behind the glass of your smartphone, this conversation is going to completely change how you view the entire on-demand economy.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we can even touch on how to clone this business model, we really need to understand the sheer scale and the DNA or the original titan we're talking about here, which is Rappi.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you live anywhere in Latin America, this is a household name. I mean, you see those glowing orange backpacks literally everywhere.
Oh, everywhere, yeah.
But for anyone not familiar, Rappi currently operates in 9 countries, including massive markets like Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, and Brazil.
It's a behemoth.
It is.
Yeah.
They were actually the first Colombian startup ever to reach a unicorn valuation. So meaning they crossed that incredibly elusive $1 billion mark.
And they didn't just cross it, they fundamentally altered the consumer landscape to stay there.
Right.
What's really crucial to understand about Rappi is its evolution. It did not stay a simple food delivery service where you just order a burger.
No, not at all.
It mutated into a sprawling ecosystem. The current metrics from our source material are just staggering. We're looking at over 150 million app downloads.
Wow.
They have around 10 million monthly active users, and they are actively serving more than 125,000 businesses.
That's insane.
They even made it into Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential Companies list, sitting right there in the leaders section, alongside giants like, Pinterest and Reddit.
It's essentially a digital Swiss Army knife for daily life. You open it to get dinner, but then you realize they have a subscription service called Rappi Prime for unlimited free deliveries.
Yep.
And they have a massive financial arm called RappiPay. In Mexico alone, they formed a 15-year exclusive partnership with Banorte, a major bank, who took over their 1.14 million cardholder portfolio.
Right, so it's a real bank now.
Exactly. So you aren't just ordering tacos, you're getting a Rappicard with no annual fee, cashback, and 18 months of interest-free purchases on big-ticket items.
It's wild.
But, okay, here is where I have to push back a little on the logistics of this entire operation.
Sure, go ahead.
They have this service called Rappi Turbo, and it promises to deliver goods and pharmacy items to your door in as little as 10 minutes in select areas.
Yes. 10 minutes?
10 minutes. I mean, I can't even find my shoes and walk to the corner store in 10 minutes. Is a 10-minute delivery window actually sustainable, or is this just a massive, money-burning race to the bottom for the sake of extreme convenience?
Well, it is incredibly difficult to sustain if you are just throwing humans at the problem.
Right.
You cannot rely on sheer manpower or drivers speeding through traffic to hit a 10-minute window. It requires intense predictive technological optimization.
Predictive, meaning what?
Well, that brings us to a very telling move in the industry. Rappi recently acquired an AI company called Fountain9.
Okay.
Now, they didn't buy them for their branding. They bought them to aggressively enhance their AI-driven supply chain. When you promise a 10-minute turnaround, your algorithms actually need to predict what a customer in a specific neighborhood is going to order before they even open the app.
Wait, really? So it's anticipating my craving before I do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The AI analyzes historical data, weather patterns, local events, you name it, and ensures the right inventory, say, umbrellas and hot soup on a rainy Tuesday,
Oh, wow.
is already physically stocked at the absolute closest micro-fulfillment center to your specific block. It's pre-positioned.
That is wild.
Yeah, that predictive logistics layer is literally the only way the math on a 10-minute delivery physically works.
Okay, so we have this absolute behemoth of an app. It's a masterclass in hyperlocal logistics, banking, predictive AI. Now we have to address how on earth everyday entrepreneurs are supposed to replicate this without spending like $50 million.
Right, the million-dollar question.
And I have to be honest, I really struggle with the terminology the industry uses here. We're talking about buying a Rappi clone.
Yes.
Doesn't the word clone immediately imply a cheap, glitchy knockoff? It sounds like buying a bootleg DVD out of the trunk of a car?
I get that. But what's fascinating here is that the terminology actually does a massive disservice to the actual technology.
Really? How so?
In the high-end software development world, a clone in this specific context isn't a knockoff. It is a highly customizable white label source code.
Okay.
It's a robust, pre-built framework.
Yeah.
The underlying philosophy is brilliantly simple, you know? Why pay to reinvent the wheel when the wheel has already been perfected by a billion-dollar company?
Right, that makes sense.
You aren't buying a glitchy bootleg. You are buying the foundational architecture that has already been stress-tested by millions of users.
Okay, I can see that. But what does that actually mean for the budget? Because building an app that does food, groceries, pharmacy, and package delivery all at once sounds like a financial black hole.
Well, let's look at the stark contrast in the numbers, because this is where the industry is really shifting. If you want to custom build a multi-service super app from scratch,
Yeah.
you are looking at hiring an entire development team for a timeline of 4 to 9 months.
Just to build it.
Just to build the first version. And the upfront cost for that ranges from $80,000 to well over $200,000.
200 grand just to start. Wow.
Right. Now, contrast that with going the route of a premium clone.
Yeah.
That robust, pre-built framework can be configured, branded, and deployed to the app stores in just 5 to 15 business days.
Wait, days, not months.
Days. And the cost sits between $17,000 and $50,000 total.
That is a massive difference.
It is. There is also a third, much smaller option we should mention, a basic delivery script.
Okay, what's that?
Those run about $5,000 to $20,000 and take maybe a month to deploy, but the limitation there is severe. It usually only supports a single service category.
Oh, I see.
So you can do food, but you can't add pharmacy or courier services later without completely breaking the code.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. It's exactly like the economics of home building.
How do you mean?
Well, building an app from scratch is like hiring a boutique architect to design a bespoke mansion. It takes a year, costs a fortune, and you pay hourly for every single draft, revision, and argument over the blueprints.
Spot on.
And buying that cheap basic script is like buying a pop-up tent. Sure, it's cheap and fast, but you really wouldn't want to live in it long term, and it's going to blow over in a storm.
And the clone.
The clone is like buying a high-end modular prefab house. The structural engineering is already done, the foundation is poured, the plumbing is already routed. You still get to customize the layout, choose the paint colors, pick the fixtures to make it completely yours-like, your branding, your logos, but you skipped the hardest, most expensive part of the physical labor.
That is a perfect analogy. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are really talking about is the rapid democratization of the tech industry.
Right.
Historically, if you wanted to launch a platform that offered food delivery, grocery, pharmacy, and courier services all in one place, you absolutely needed venture capital backing before you wrote a single line of code.
Oh, yeah, it was totally a closed club.
Exactly. But today, a solo entrepreneur can access that multi-category functionality from day one, allowing them to instantly compete in a much larger market without taking on millions in debt.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because if I'm buying a prefab house for $17,000, I have to wonder if the plumbing is going to burst the second I turn on the water, you know?
Fair point.
What exactly are you getting for that investment? How does this cheap software keep from crashing when 1,000 people all order lunch at exactly noon?
That's the magic of the architecture.
Yeah.
You aren't just buying one app that sits on a phone.
Right.
You're buying a synchronized system to coordinate a massive multi-sided digital marketplace. You are actually dealing with 4 distinct interfaces that have to communicate flawlessly in milliseconds.
Right, because there's not just the customer.
Exactly. First, you have the user app that needs to be beautiful, intuitive, and fast. Then you have the store app usually on a tablet, where merchants manage their live inventory and accept incoming orders.
Makes sense.
Third, you have the Rider app, which acts as a dispatch system handling GPS routing and calculating driver earnings. And finally, you have the admin panel, which is basically the air traffic control room.
Air traffic control for who?
For you, the platform owner.
Yeah.
It lets you oversee every single transaction, refund, and driver location in your city.
And think about what happens when you crave a burger and hit order. We don't often appreciate the sheer volume of digital handshakes happening.
Oh, it's wild.
The user browses and pays. Instantly, that order has to ping the merchant's dashboard. But before the merchant even finishes cooking, the system is calculating the exact proximity of dozens of delivery drivers to automatically assign the fastest one.
Right.
Then it fires up real-time GPS tracking for the customer, provides turn-by-turn navigation for the driver, and finally releases the payment and prompts a rating once the food is handed over.
Yep. It's a whole sequence.
If any one of those connections drops, the whole experience falls apart. So how is the actual code structured to prevent that?
This is where the tech stack, the actual coding languages used to build the house, becomes critical for scalability. For the front and the face of the app that the user taps on, you need reliable frameworks like React Native or Flutter,
Why that specifically?
because they allow developers to write the code once and deploy it beautifully on both Apple, iOS, and Android simultaneously.
Oh, so you don't have to build two separate apps.
Exactly. It cuts development time in half. Now, for the back end, the brain of the operation, making all those routing decisions, you want environments like Node.js or Django.
Okay.
Node.js is particularly brilliant for this because it uses non-blocking processing.
Non-blocking, meaning what? In plain English.
To think of it like a really efficient waiter at a restaurant.
Okay.
A bad waiter takes one table's order, walks to the kitchen, waits for the food to be cooked, delivers it, and then finally goes to the next table.
Right, so they're totally ignoring everyone else.
Exactly. That's blocking.
Yeah.
Node.js is like a master waiter who takes a dozen orders, fires them all to the kitchen at once, and serves whatever comes out first.
Oh, wow.
It can handle thousands of simultaneous data requests like, location updates from drivers without freezing up.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Then you need the database, the memory of the app like MongoDB, which is highly flexible for things like restaurant menus that change prices daily. And finally, you stitch it all together using external APIs.
The application programming interfaces, basically the nervous system connecting your app to the outside world, right?
Precisely. You don't build your own mapping satellite.
Right.
You just plug in the Google Maps API. You don't build a banking network. You plug in the Stripe API to process credit cards.
Right.
Use the Twilio API to automatically send those your drivers arriving text messages.
And when you break down the actual budget for a high-end clone, it really demystifies where the money goes. I was looking at the typical cost distribution from the sources, and it's fascinating. What does the breakdown actually look like for an entrepreneur?
Well, for a solid multi-service clone, the back-end development, that Node.js brain we talked about, eats up the biggest chunk, usually around $5,000 to $15,000.
Okay.
Building the front-end interfaces runs $4,000 to $12,000.
And what blew my mind is that the UI UX design, the actual user interface and user experience, making it look pretty and easy to tap, is usually only budgeted at $2,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, people are always surprised by that.
I would have thought making it look like a premium Silicon Valley app was the most expensive part.
It's a common misconception. The paint and fixtures are cheap. Pouring a foundation that won't crack under the weight of 1,000 simultaneous users is what actually costs money.
Right.
And then integrating payment gateways like Stripe adds another $1,000 to $3,000.
Okay, so you've spent your $30,000. You have this beautiful, scalable, prefab digital mansion. But having the code is really only half the battle.
Oh, definitely.
Because you can have the most flawlessly engineered app in the world, and if nobody in your city knows it exists, it's just a very expensive digital ghost town.
Which is why the strategic playbook for launch is just as important as the code itself. And the golden rule of that playbook is, do not launch everything at once.
Right.
You have to start with an MVP, a minimum viable product.
Right, because the urge is to look at your shiny new super app that can do groceries, pharmacy, flowers, and food, and just turn it all in at once to look like a giant company.
Exactly, and that is a fatal error. You have to map out your service verticals and start small.
Keep it simple.
Right. You might only launch with hot food delivery first. You need to prove the core concept in your specific local market, work out the operational kinks with your drivers, and build trust before expanding the complexity.
And that requires actually knowing your market. which means getting out from behind your laptop.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine you, as the listener, blow 40 grand on the Ultimate app and you spend all your marketing budget pushing a premium flower and give delivery feature. But you launch in a dense college town where absolutely no one buys flowers, but thousands of kids desperately want 2 a.m. tacos and energy drinks.
It happens all the time.
You built the right tech for the wrong crowd and you're dead in the water.
Market research dictates everything. What is the average basket size in your zip code? Are your local customers highly sensitive to price, meaning you need to offer cheap delivery fees?
Or are they like wealthy suburbanites willing to pay a premium just to get their groceries handled?
Exactly. And crucially, who are your anchor tenants?
Anchor tenants, like a mall.
Exactly like a mall. A mall needs a massive department store to draw the foot traffic so the smaller stores can survive.
Oh, I see.
If you are launching a delivery app, who are the top 10 restaurants in your city? That, if you got them exclusively on your platform on day one, would instantly validate your brand to consumers.
Which brings us to the 4 to 6 week rule. This is the part that I think requires the most discipline.
It's tough, yeah.
The standard industry advice is that an entrepreneur must spend 4 to 6 weeks prior to launch doing absolutely nothing but onboarding merchants.
Yes, because every two-sided marketplace faces the classic chicken and egg problem.
Right.
Customers won't download your app if there aren't any good stores on it, and local stores won't waste time signing up if you don't have any customers. You have to solve the merchant side first.
It's like throwing an elaborate, wildly expensive dinner party. You rent a hall, hire a string quartet, send out gold foil invitations, but you forget to buy any food.
It's exactly like that.
People are going to show up, look at the empty buffet, leave immediately, and they are never, ever coming back. Density is everything. You need 20 to 30 strong, reliable merchant partners in a single, tight neighborhood just to create a compelling first-day experience for a user scrolling on their couch.
This raises an important question, though. We've established that the technology is ready-made and proven.
Right.
We know the launch playbook is clear. So why do so many smart entrepreneurs still fail when they buy these clones?
Because they absolutely do fail. We see so many founders get the tech completely right, but their business still implodes by month 2. It really comes down to a few major thematic traps.
Let's go through them. The first trap is what we can call the hubris of scope creep. We just touched on the MVP model.
Yeah.
Founders get greedy.
I want it all.
They ignore the MVP, try to be the final, ultimate version of Rappi on day one, and they spread their marketing and operational budget so thin across 5 different categories that they do all of them poorly instead of doing one of them perfectly.
And the second trap ties right into our college town analogy, local blindness.
Oh, yeah.
You might build a flawless app for grocery delivery, but if your local market already has 3 established corporate players doing it well, you're trying to break down a brick wall with your head.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, what that specific town actually desperately needed was a reliable local courier service for, law firms and real estate agents. You have to build what the market is begging for, not what you think looks cool on a billboard.
Then there is the bargain bin trap.
Yeah.
This is where founders try to cut corners on the actual deployment. They know a premium clone costs $17,000, but they find a freelance team offering to do it for $4,000.
Uh-oh.
They choose the absolute lowest priced tech partner to configure the backend.
Then what happens?
They end up with spaghetti code, missed deadlines, and a system that completely collapses at scale.
Yes.
An app configured by amateurs might work perfectly when you and your 3 friends test it. But the second you run a big launch day promo and you hit 2,000 simultaneous users, that Node.js brain we talked about just shuts down.
Just crashes.
Yeah, the infrastructure wasn't properly configured to handle the traffic spike, which is trap number 4, overlooking scalability.
Which leads to another huge killer, the UX maze. UX, the user experience, is everything in on-demand services.
It really is.
People open these apps because they're hungry, or they're in a hurry, or they have a screaming toddler and need milk. If your checkout process requires them to fill out 5 pages of information, or the interface is cluttered and confusing, they will just abandon their cart and open a competitor's app.
Exactly. Do not make people jump through digital hoops to give you their money.
And we can't ignore the most silent killer of all, the maintenance bleed. So many founders think development is a one-time cost.
That is a huge mistake.
They view it like buying a car in cash. But software is a living organism.
Yeah, I want to highlight the numbers on this because it's sobering. Ongoing maintenance, Server hosting, third-party API fees, and security updates will routinely add 20% or more to your initial development costs every single year.
Wow. Every year.
Plus, you need to budget anywhere from $500 to $2,000 a month just for ongoing technical support to keep the lights on.
So if you spend your absolute last dollar throwing a massive launch party for the app, you are already out of business on day 2. You just don't know it yet.
Yep. And finally, there is the launch day disaster, which comes from skipping thorough testing. You have to aggressively test every single user journey across all 4 of those app panels before going live to the public.
Right.
If a payment gateway fails on day 1 or a driver gets routed to the wrong address, you are going to get flooded with 1-star reviews on the App Store that your brand reputation may actually never recover from.
It is an incredibly complex ecosystem, and when you step back and look at the broader landscape, there are over 2 million apps currently competing for attention on the Google and Apple platforms.
2 million? It's crazy.
Breaking through that kind of deafening noise requires serious, meticulous strategy, not just clean code.
That's precisely where solutions from specialized providers like Enatega really come into play. By offering these high-end, pre-built clones, they offer a massive shortcut.
Right.
They allow founders to bypass months of exhausting initial development and hundreds of thousands of dollars in costs so they can focus their time and capital on what actually dictates success. The local market strategy, the boots-on-the-ground merchant onboarding, and the customer acquisition.
Which brings us right back to you listening to this right now.
Yeah.
Whether you are actively plotting to launch your own local delivery empire and looking for the right tools, or you're just a consumer who sometimes sits on the couch wondering how your ultra-fast hot food magically arrives at your door 20 minutes after you press a glass button.
Right.
You hopefully now have a much clearer understanding of the incredibly complex digital ballet happening right behind your screen.
It truly is a phenomenal coordination of predictive data, physical logistics, and human effort. And it's all facilitated by software frameworks that are becoming more powerful and more accessible to the everyday person by the day.
So what does this all mean? I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as you go about the rest of your day.
Okay, let's hear it.
If a solo entrepreneur with a laptop can legally buy and deploy the exact same robust, multi-category technological infrastructure as a billion-dollar tech unicorn for roughly the price of a used Honda Civic, does the true value of a modern tech company actually lie in its code anymore?
That is a great question.
Right. Or has the technology itself just become a cheap, accessible commodity, meaning that authentic human community, flawless real-world operations, and deep brand trust are the only real competitive moats left in the modern world?